Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys all in the next video.
All right. Let's edit that video. Done. Oh, the Penguins have signed Danton Heinen to a 1-year contract. $1.1 million. Obviously just happened after I finished editing this video, but we have to talk about this real quick. Well, I like this. Oh my gosh, I like this. Danton Heinen, let's look up his hockey reference. He, at least from my knowledge, is a very young, underrated... How do you spell his name? I'm trying to do this with one hand. Only came into the league in 2017. 26 years old. 2014 draft. Has played with Boston and Anaheim. I believe he was in the Andre Kasha, Nick Ritchie trade. 14 points last year with Anaheim in 43 games. Career high 47 points. Dude, I like this. Oh my goodness. At $1.1 million, that's a good signing. That is a really good signing. That is there it is. There's, the next thing that the Penguins, you still need to fix the goaltending. And Corey Perry and Brandon Saad were initially in this video, but I had to edit that out too. I need to get this video posted before anything else happens. But yeah, I really like this deal. Really like this deal.
With the $7 million that they got from getting rid of Brandon Tanev and Jared McCann, the Pittsburgh Penguins have made a couple moves on day one of free agency, which was yesterday. Today's day two. They did make a very small signing today, and they have a roughly $3 million left. Zach Aston-Reese and Radim Zohorna are RFAs for the Penguins that have received qualifying offers. They have not signed yet, but most notably, the Pittsburgh Penguins have signed Brock McGinn to a 4-year deal, as well as Taylor Fedun. Dominik Simon has been brought back. Evan Rodrigues has re-signed. Michael Chaput, that happened today. And Filip Lindbergh, who is a very young goaltender just coming out of college that could be something for the Penguins. On the other side of the board, we have what the Penguins' depth chart kind of looks like right now. And then Cody Ceci is not re-signing with the Penguins as he's signed in Edmonton. And Frederick Gaudreau signs in Minnesota. I mentioned on the live stream yesterday how I'm very upset about that because I think Gaudreau was, a player that you could easily have brought him back. Could you have not? And then, of course, as I mentioned, Zohorna and Aston-Reese are still RFAs. Overall, I like the moves by the Penguins, but this cannot be it. Goaltending needs to fix. Marc-Andre Fleury. I'm wearing a Marc-Andre Fleury jersey right now. It makes too much sense. Bring him back. Seriously. I know it sounds like, an EA Sports NHL 21 type move, but it makes too much sense. And the Penguins need goaltending. And again, as I said before on this channel, if Tristan Jarry walks into next season as a starting goaltender, I'm not going to be happy because he's not a starting goaltender anymore after what he did in the playoffs last season. And he just struggled overall in the regular season at times. And I'm not confident in him anymore. Let's go over these signings, what I think about them, and also potential names that are still out left on the market that I could see the Penguins signing with their $3.6 million left in cap space. That's not a lot, but I really am, holding out hope that Pettersson could be dealt here, as well as Jarry. So let's go over the big name so far. He's a bottom six winger, but still he's the biggest name on this list. Brock McGinn from the Carolina Hurricanes comes over to the Penguins, and I really like this move. $2.75 million on, per year for 4 years. That's a lot of term for a guy that's, 27, I think. And McGinn has only ever been with the Carolina Hurricanes. He was drafted in 2012, so another, 2012 draft pick that has come to the Penguins. He was a second rounder. He also, Ty McGinn and Jamie McGinn, also former NHL players. I don't know if Jamie's still playing. And that's his brothers. So McGinn, just like his brothers, bottom six forward at best. He's probably the best out of the three. Scored a overtime winner against the Capitals a couple years back to eliminate them. And that obviously gets him some points from the fans already. So Brock McGinn is definitely a replacement for Tanev and McCann in the bottom six. He's not going to play, with Crosby or Malkin, at least, regularly. He will definitely play on the bottom two lines with Carter and Blueger, and I really like this signing. I really do. He doesn't score that much, but when he does, similar to Tanev, he scores very big goals like that Capitals elimination goal as well. His career high is only 16 points. So, nothing tremendous in terms of scoring output, but he's an agitator. He's a player that you don't like to play against, and he's a good depth signing for the Penguins, and I like this move. In 6 years in the NHL, he's played 345 games played, has 51 goals, 55 assists, and 106 points. So, a third of a point per game player. Not going to score, a tremendous amount. But again, similar to Tanev, when he scores, they'll be big goals. So I'm excited for Brock McGinn. I like this signing. But again, this can't be it. Evan Rodrigues and Dominik Simon, you guys are Pittsburgh Penguins fans for the most part. You guys know the gist of what these players are. I'm worried about having both of these guys on the team next season. And it's the Pittsburgh Penguins, so we're going to get hurt. There's going to be an injury crisis next season. So what's going to happen is Simon and Rodrigues are going to play like first-line minutes with Crosby. I'm fine with this signing, or I would be fine with this signing of Simon. I expected Rodrigues to come back. I would be fine with both of them coming back if Mike Sullivan wasn't the head coach of this team. Not that I want Sullivan to be gone. It's just that he really likes both of these players, especially Simon, and I don't want them to take away first-line minutes from Gensel or Rust or even Kapanen, and I want them to stay in the bottom six. The cap hit is completely fine. $1 million for Rodrigues, $750,000 for Simon. So there's no risk there. They're both on one-year deals. You can send them to the minors if they don't really work out. But based on recent years, it's gonna work out for them with Sullivan. They're coaches' pets, and while they have good assets to their game, would rather have Gensel and Rust up there. But again, I'm speculating here. I like the signings. I don't like both of them on the same team because I feel like they're both similar players in the aspect that they're very frustrating to watch for us Penguins fans. So I would have preferred Rodrigues and no Simon over both of them. I honestly did not expect Simon to come back, but it is what it is. Last year, Simon had 0 points with the Calgary Flames. So, looks like Pittsburgh is the only place he can go to produce. And then as for Rodrigues, he had 7 goals, 7 assists, 14 points in 35 games played last year. So he was hurt. He was also not in the lineup just because he wasn't good enough at some points. So I don't know if I see a spot for both of them permanently, but it's good to have them as depth pieces. Speaking of depth pieces, as Rodrigues and Simon can definitely make the lineup, and they will play NHL games. Michael Chaput and Taylor Fadoon, I hope, no offense to these guys, do not play any NHL games, because if that were to happen, injuries would be pretty extreme. Taylor Fedun, depth defenseman, 33 years old, signs a 1-year league minimum deal. Same with Michael Chaput, depth center, 1-year league minimum deal. These are AHL signings, but this is the Pittsburgh Penguins. You never know with injuries. I hope I don't see these guys in the lineup. Taylor Fedun has not played in the NHL since 2019-2020, so he didn't play an NHL game last season. He had 2 goals, 7 assists, and 9 points that season with Dallas. Decent, but I feel like the Penguins already have their go-to veteran 7th defenseman in Chad Ruedel, so it's going to be hard for him to get a spot in the lineup. Michael Chaput played 13 games with the Arizona Coyotes last year. He had 0 goals, 0 assists, 0 points. Again, hope he stays in the AHL. And then the last signing is a guy that I've never heard of, and a guy that a lot of NHL fans and Penguins fans have not even heard of. Filip Lindbergh, goaltender from Umass. This is a college free agent signing by the Pittsburgh Penguins, which I am totally on board for already, especially because the Penguins don't draft a lot because they trade away their picks. So you got to go and find other ways to get young, players in your system, and this is the route that you should go. And I really like this signing, even though I didn't know a thing about Lindbergh. He's 22 years old, signs a $925,000 entry-level contract for 2 years. He will likely be in the AHL for the entirety of the season. Emil Larmi is moving back to Finland. He is no longer going to be, trying to make the NHL, at least for the time being. So kind of a replacement there for him. Lindbergh could be the starter in Wilkes-Barre. And his stats at UMass look pretty good. He spent a full 4 years there. In every season, he had an under 2 goals a game average. So that's really nice. In his senior season, 1.24 goals against average and a 949 save percentage. Again, college level, much different from the NHL, but that's really good. And I like that. Goaltenders, of course, infamously take a lot of time to develop. So don't go, writing down Lindbergh as your first ballot Vezina candidate. But with the Penguins goaltending right now, you never know if he could sneak into the lineup, maybe with injuries or maybe just with Jarry not playing good. So there are the 6 signings that the Penguins have made. I like all of them, but this cannot be it. As I mentioned, Zohorna and Aston-Reese will probably eat up that remaining $3 million combined, or very close to the cap. Zohorna will probably get under $1 million. Aston-Reese could make around $2 million, maybe. I hope he doesn't make anything over $2 million. Depends on the term for him. He'll come back definitely, but I still don't think this team, even if you do add Aston-Reese and Zohorna, I do not think this team is a Stanley Cup contender, let alone even a playoff team, possibly. Malkin, I put Malkin here. This is the depth chart, but Malkin will be out until November, maybe December next season. And while, he hasn't been the greatest these past couple of years with his injuries, he's still Evgeny Malkin, and he can help a team make the playoffs. Jeff Carter is old, and I don't know if he can, be a second-line center anymore, but I don't know. And, the wingers on this team, is Kapanen good enough to be a top 6 forward? Is Zucker going to bounce back? So I don't know if this is enough to get into the playoffs, let alone compete for a Stanley Cup. So I have a little list right here of names that are still out there that I think that the Penguins can go and get. And I didn't even mention goaltending there. It's just Fleury or bust. Darcy Kemper was traded. Linus Ullmark signed. Philip Grubauer signed. There are no options left in terms of a starting goaltender in the free agency market or even in the trade market except for Marc-Andre Fleury. So it's Fleury or bust, in my opinion. And I don't know if it's going to happen necessarily, but it better. It better. So Fleury, as I mentioned, name's still out there. I have him with an asterisk. He's not a free agent, but still. Thomas Tatar is still out there. I would like him. He's definitely a good player. You see what Mike Hoffman got? $4.5 million for Mike Hoffman. That's a good signing for Montreal. Why couldn't the Penguins get him? Seriously, that's a good player on a cheap contract. If Alex Goligoski is going to make $5 million and Mike Hoffman's going to make 4.5. I don't understand this league. Dominik Cahoon is still out there, former Penguin. If you're going to bring back Dominik Simon, go ahead and bring back Cahoon, who is far better, in my opinion, and underrated, underlooked, and he needs a permanent home. James Neal, that's my last name. James Neal is still out there, as I mentioned in my free agency preview. He's not going to make, anything north of $1 million. And he's been the best line mate that Evgeny Malkin has ever had in terms of chemistry. I think it's worth the risk. 1-year deal, $850,000. I don't know. I'm just speculating here. But the gist of this video is that the Penguins right now are not good enough. Even if they do re-sign at Zohorna and Aston-Reese, they're not good enough. This is not a Stanley Cup contending team on paper or on the ice. So let me know in the comment section down below who you think the Penguins should go after. Whether it be Fleury, whether it be Saad, whether it be someone I didn't even mention. And let me know your thoughts on Brock McGinn, which I do like. But again, this cannot be it for the Penguins. Got a long off season ahead of us. We're only in day 2 now of free agency. So we'll wait and see because October is not even close. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys all in the next video.